Hi. If I have to highlight one single aspect of all the animation process that you can focus on in order to grow as an animator is posing. That is because if we see the animation simply as the consecution of poses through the time, well, we can see that there is a lot of, or most of the creative aspects that we're going to do fall into this particular task. Okay, so this is the thing. Posing or a pose is the result of these two factors: delivery of information plus appeal. And most of us, we do this process okay, we defend on it, but my suggestion that in order to grow and improve as animators, we should take this to the next level. So that would be getting genuine delivering of information plus a very good appeal. So a genuine delivery of information basically is when we base our acting or performance more in the real world, in the natural way of feeling things, when it is not fake, when it doesn't look like we are acting it too much, or when we are pushing or acting ideas. If you've never seen the video about the method for animators that I published like not too long ago, I invite you to do so you can see what I'm talking about when I mean about being more genuine, being more fresh, getting more spontaneous ideas in our shots. So that is something that is a good start in order to get like a very good poses. Now, appeal, it's a very different thing. We could take a lot of time to really talk about appeal, but just saying it shortly, we could say that appeal is basically beauty. If you have studied any kind of art, you can see that the concept of beauty, or what we consider something beautiful, is a concept that has been changing all the time through centuries. It's a very subjective concept that is very attached to the culture of whatever you are and whatever the time on history you are. So unfortunately, guys, I cannot give you the ultimate formula to get good and appealing poses. What I can do definitely is to tell you what is the best way to learn and to improve your appealing skills, which is learning by observation and imitation. If you really want to improve your posing skills and therefore your animation skills, that is really going to help you in your career, the best way to improve that is by doing your own research on about, I don't know, all the animators, all the artists that today are considered to have like a lot of appeal, and basically surround yourself with that. Just print copies, get videos that you can in your desktop, look at it over and over and over again. This is what we call learning by observation. The more you do so, unconsciously, you're gonna learn what is really appeal. You're gonna raise your bar to differentiate what is appealing and what is not appealing. But that is just gonna help you to differentiate. You're gaining clarity. You're just basically putting in your unconscious mind the nicest or the most beautiful references that you have. That doesn't mean that you can actually do it with your hand. That's when the imitation or the copy comes into action. Referencing your work in the very early times of your career as animator is the best way to improve, is the best way to learn, is the best way to become very creative. And really, this is very important. At the very beginning, we have to put our ego to aside and to just consider that the best way to learn is to copy. There is no way that your brain is gonna get good and creative ideas that are appealing without not having referenced your work before, without not having copied it before. I wish our minds, or I wish our brains are like magic and that we are able to create from nothing, but that's not how our brain works. That's not how creativity works. All creative work is based on previous history of creative work. All the arts like dancing, music, sculpture, all of them, the very first few years, and actually like quite a few years, you learn by just basically copying and doing what maybe your mentor does, or just reproducing what you see in the reality or what you hear from another music. So animators, we should do the same in order to improve. So I'm gonna be working on this pose, and as I tell you my process that I do just for one single pose, which for me is the most important process of all the of all the animation. I'm gonna give you like a taste, or I'm gonna give you tips, or what things I see that are actually appealing. So you can start to get some tricks here and there that you can maybe reproduce later. So this is a pose that basically I've done myself by filling it out. This is something that, as I said in the method process, is something that I always do, which is to fill my poses first, and then I go into thumbnail. I usually do like kind of like a half and a half of first filling it out, doing like some kind of quick sketch to fill it out again, and then do more sketches. I go back and forward, back and forward. So this is something that more or less I'm very happy. Something that I usually am very interested to is to really know and to feel where is the energy or the force of my pose going. If we just look at this pose, we can really see very clearly that all the energy is going this direction, right? Like everything is happening up here. This is kind of like an ecstasy kind of pose. That's what more or less the goal of kind of like ecstasy on joy. My goal with this was to examine the uplifting feeling that we got when something is very, very exciting, right? So that's why it goes like this, right? When I feel it, it actually is kind of like you thanks to the heaven for whatever is happening, no? So visually we can see how that energy is going up. But not only that, something that I try to keep with myself and that I will try to put it in the 3D is everything that feels in the shoulders and in the arms, like, fuck, amazing, right? So I try to imprint on me what I feel in my body, right? And I feel that my hands, my chest is like full of excitement, right? And force. And also I feel that a lot in the, like in this area or the eyebrows, like, what? Like I cannot really believe it. It's like my mind is gonna explode of excitement. So this process of feeling your poses or feeling the animation that you are gonna do, at the very beginning it takes a little bit to get familiar or to just lose the fear of, everybody's gonna be asking, what is this guy doing? But little by little is gonna be like instant. The moment you really want to tap into a feeling, you're gonna do it like very, very fast the more you do it. Sometimes you really want, at the very beginning, as I say in the video of method, you want to ask the questions if like what does this moment reminds me to, or what does this whatever the character is saying in this moment reminds me to. You ask those questions in order to bring events from your history in life in order to help you to bring that feeling so you can examine that. But that's something that with the time is not necessary. At some point when you have done the process of tapping into the emotions quite a few times, you just bring the energy. So that being said, okay, I got more or less the energy. I know where is it going. I know where are the parts that I'm gonna be trying to put special attention to get that emotion going on. Some appealing aspects that I really like, and I think that can be very interesting. First is this, the line of action that we find here. This is gonna be something that I think is going to be very, very nice. I really like the concept of having these two lines that goes from the body or from the lower part of the feet up to the chest, and if it's possible, depending on my character, to the shoulders. this aspect, this difference that we create that evolves, this is what I call harmony. When two or more lines evolves together in a way, when we get this kind of relationship in between lines, like for example in the fingers, sometimes we get those kind of relationships in the fingers that it gives us like a lot of appeal, right? So that's something that, for example, is already happening in this body, and I really like it. So let's see how that goes. Another thing that I really like are, or in terms of appealing, are these very straight lines and the breaks of the joints with a little bit of harmony as well. So as you can see, I have the relationship here of these two lines, peak, that has a little bit of evolution or a little bit of harmony here and there, and also these other two, tick, tick, right? It creates like kind of like a double D, like a double U. That's also gonna give some good appeal, and it's good contrast of this in between this part where it's like this kind of curve. Another thing that also I believe that, or I can see that I'm very attracted to and that I can give like a lot of appeal, is that this line I'm gonna try to do it like straight as much as I can, and I'm gonna try to really get like these big boots, a little on symmetry, not too much, but a little on symmetry, is slightly off. And when we got like slightly off symmetries, that can also give like a very good appeal. I'm a big fan and defender of symmetries in general with tiny little breaks. I don't think that we should all do like very symmetric kind of like poses in the hands, for example. Like 100% I don't think it's a good idea, but like for example in this drawing, if it's a little tilted this way, that can work. The problem is when it's right exactly in the center and if it's 90 degrees, when it's like super geometrical, maybe it's when we're missing the opportunity to get good appeal. But if it's slightly off, I think it's good. And the other good thing that of course is going to help us to get good appeal is going to be the face, like this expression. I'm going to try to do my best to get this one here. I really like how the face is communicating, or how all these three parts of the face are relating to each other with this very wide mouth. I don't know if Toy is still prepared to get that big mouth, but let's have a look. Let's see. And this very like crushed down brows is something that I'm really also very keen to do it. So that's also the thing. I feel excitement for doing it. I feel attracted to do it. That's also a very good sign of that I'm going to be doing something appealing, right? So I've been mentioning that quite a few times on my videos, so it's starting to rise. So that's something that we all should note in order to know that we are in the right path for good appeal. And other different things that I see that we can do is the contrast of this big smile right here and the tiny little eyes squished and all that. Contrast is one of the biggest things that we can aim to do in animation, right, in order to get good appeal. So more or less those are the big few things that I'm going to be looking for in order to get good appeal. So let's go and jump into the 3D scene. Okay, so here we are with the little fella, Toy. So okay, so the very first thing that I like to try to get is the general pose, the line of action with this big contrast here. Let's see how that goes. Okay, so this is something that let's say that I've learned to do in OTLT, or that I started to stop having fear of, which is hiding the neck many times. I'm a big fan of working with shoulders and the expressivity of the shoulders. So what I'm gonna try to do is to get all the importance that I can to the shoulders, um, to get this feeling up here. And so for that, I'm gonna try to hide the neck as well. Okay, so one of the things that I know that I'm working on my pose is that all the energy that is happening here and all this force that is coming towards here. So for that, I'm not gonna leave my hips by default. I'm gonna just take advantage of the rig, and I'm just gonna pull up as much as I can in order to not just to bring like and to create like this very large feet as we can, also to create that kind of close, also to create, thank you Alan for that. um, Also to create, if I can, all the energy coming up here. So I also want to get let's say like that wide part of the chest, so I can start to create that difference a little bit. What I really want to try to get is not just that evolution that is different and that creates harmony in these two lines of the body. I also want to be very precise and try to get that 2D feeling on the pose. So I'm going to be tweaking everything that is happening in the feet and probably in the chest as well. Let's see how it goes. Okay, there is a moment in all the poses that I reach where I cannot work with this neutral pose anymore. It's like if I need the feedback of the face expression itself in order to continue to find a balance of everything, because I think that everything has to be connected some sort. And also because the face expression to me like very exciting always to work on the facial pose. So it's like a boost of motivation as well. So if I'm capable to get like a very good facial expression, that's gonna keep me going and keep looking for a pose that is still expressive and highly communicative and with a good appeal. Corners of the eyes. Don't hesitate to use the corners of the eye in order to emphasize the feeling that you are doing. This curve generally tells a lot. So I usually work with both with the corners of the mouth, the mouth of the eyes, and with the very tip controls in order to, to get more clear emotions out of it. I always try to find also with the eyebrows this tiny little piece of like pinch of tension. That's why, for example, in this rig we have 3 main controls, and this latest one that is going to help us to whatever the expression is to find that latest detail that can add like a lot of appeal. And also I try to work a lot with the white of the eyebrows, whatever the emotion is. If it's something where I know that there is like a lot of tension, I try to like make it wider. Okay, so this is a classic thing that is important sometimes to do, which is to try to find the nice or the good profile. I'm looking for this line here to be clearly, and also what I want is to make sure that I can see, let's say, this part of the lip coming out. So I'm gonna grab my control that is like the very tip. I'm pulling out and see how that goes, see if that really helps. And other thing that we can do to help that to happen is to push the exterior of the, to push the lip that is gonna be on the other side of the camera, and try to just bring it deep inside the face, like that. And that helps us generally a lot to create those shapes on the lips. that can be very fun to look at sometimes. This still needs some work, but it's getting there, more or less. So let's say, for example, there's something, an idea that I just had, and I don't, but just in case I don't want to lose this, right? So this is a very classic tip that I always give away. It seems like common sense, but not so many people know it. So just select all, just key all, make sure that you have it, and just go to the next key and try your idea. So my idea is something that I do many often, which is get like a different head angle, but I use the deformers or the head in order to just alter a little bit and deform the head a little bit. So I want to see how it works if I just get like more profile in the mouth, but more frontal of the head. So for that, I'm gonna bring these guys up. And see how it works. I'm not sure if it's gonna work, but I like to try. Right, just a little bit, right? So did you see? I think it's working. So I'm gonna keep that. I'm gonna keep that. And actually I'm gonna keep testing and push a little bit and see how it goes. I'm gonna do more profile of the mouth, from the mouth. So I'm using as reference this part here, and I'm gonna push a little more the upper and see how that goes. So I'm gonna try to now, actually this is not looking bad, but I like to push a little more the contrast between these two parts and see if I can get like a more 2D feeling on the side. So I'm gonna start using some of more of the deformers and see what I can find. Okay, so before I continue, I'm gonna try to bring a little more of balance to the overall pose. So generally I just reduce a little bit some of the scales, like I reduce this down, these ones are a little down, the feet bad. In the other side I got the arms a little, or the hands a little bigger, just just to reaffirm that energy that is going here. I'm gonna try to bring a little of that force coming towards this way. So that's why I'm creating like these angles of tension in the hands, and see where I can get with all that. I like to also get like a nice feeling in this shoulder and this arm and this hand. So that's it, more or less. I could continue working on the pose forever because it's the most favorite part of the job, but I'm more or less pretty satisfied. Some certain aspects of appeal that I'm happy with, that I think that more or less is there, is, well, not just the line of action is working very nice. The overall balance of the character, like there's like some good weight there and some good weight there that is connected through the body. That's also helping a lot to get good appeal. I really like the 2D kind of feeling that I got into the feet, more or less working. They are pretty nice too. The face, more or less, I think is working pretty good too. This kind of relationship that I got into with the eyes and the mouth, I think is working very good too. It's not as intense as I had it in the 2D version, but more or less it's good. I really like also getting that subtle feeling of the shoulder going a little over the face. These straight arms and the straight, let's say, angles in comparison with what the body is doing is adding like a lot of good contrast that I can see. Also it adds some very good appeal as well. And I also like all this part here. It feels like one, both the body and the head, more or less, is all together, and it makes it like kind of like a unity, the whole thing, and having those two arms in contrast. Clarity, basically clarity in the shape, and it's all part of the same. You can see that everything is well integrated, more or less. You can understand it for the first glance. So if we compare it with the oldest version of the 2D, of course there's always something that is not going to be there, because 2D is 2D, and there are many things that I cannot translate from one to the other. But I think that the general feeling and that energy of going to the chest or the upper part of the body is quite there. The line of action, that evolution of that shape, I think is most of that is there as well. Face, true, is not quite the same, of course, because when you do 2D you can do whatever you want to do, but the intention is there, and I think we got a pretty good appeal going on in this face. And the hands too, more or less. So pretty satisfied. As I said, I could continue working and doing much other things, like for example, I would have worked a little more trying to get like a more clear kind of evolution, maybe to something more thin here. Maybe I would have worked a little more of the perspective to get a little more stretched legs, something like that, and see how it would go. Those are ideas that I was having at the same time I was working, but I take sometimes very seriously, well, not super seriously, but I really try to make the things that I need to do in the time that I have. So this post more or less took me like 1 hour and 20 minutes, I believe, more or less. I talk a lot through it too, but more or less. And so I decided at some point that, well, I had to let it go. I was satisfied enough to just let it go. Well, so that's pretty much it. I hope that you enjoyed, that you got something that is useful for your process of animating. I'm preparing this video as a part of a way bigger course that I've been working on the last few months. The course is going to be called The Essence of 3D Animation, and I'm basically putting in most of the most important things that I discovered in all my years as animator. In this course, I'm basically going to be animating an acting shot, as I go through a workflow and tips and tricks and this and that, and all that stuff that I'm hoping that can be very useful for young animators or early animators that are looking to expand or grow as animators. Yeah. So please, if you like what you've seen, just subscribe, stay around, because I don't know very well when this course is going to be released, but I hope it's going to be soon. I keep working on it very hardly. So stay around. Thank you very much for all your support. Bye.